What's up, everybody? This is Suleiman from SAZ. This is the channel where we talk about the money in business and the business of money. Today, we'll be talking about why you need to start your own business. So stay tuned till the end and don't forget to subscribe. So before we go on to understand why you actually need a business, let us first understand what a business really is. So a business, in simple terms, is like a factory for making you money. And I use the word factory because, like a factory, there are inputs that needs to be put in. And then the factory will do the processing and then it will produce the outputs. So the inputs in this case can be your time, money, as well as your skills. And then there's the processing part, which is the core activity of your business. And then lastly, there are outputs, which we call the value that the business actually provides. Now, it is this value that is taken to the market so that your customers or audience can spend money in purchasing this value. Now, successful companies and stable businesses have managed to quantify these three phases of your business. So for example, if it's inputs, they already know our inputs cost this much. If it's the processing, then it costs us this much. And the value we are creating will cost this much to our customers. And from that, they can now calculate and have a rate of return, meaning that this is what we are putting in and the business will give us this much. And that's their rate of return. Let me give you a simple example. So let's look at Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola company, in their soft drinks, they usually sell you the soft drinks, right? The sodas. But what you need to understand is that there are inputs that go into making that soda. So there's carbonated water or sparkling water, if you want to call it that way. The second thing is that flavored sugary syrup that they mix with this carbonated water, and there you have your soda. But of course, there are other things such as the bottling, this logistics to supply all these things, and the commissions for wholesalers and retailers, and all these are what now they provide the value. And the value Coca-Cola sells you is not actually a sugary drink that is carbonated, but rather a feeling. And for example, for their Coca-Cola, now the drink, they tell you every time you open it and you hear that sound, it means that you've opened happiness. If you look at Sprite, when you drink a Sprite, they tell you you've quenched your thirst. Now, this is the value proposition they're selling to you. And in return, you spend money on them to quench your thirst or opening the happiness. Now that we have understood all these things, here are 5 reasons why you need to start your own business. And at the top of the list, we believe that it is less risky. When we're talking about risk, a lot of people will say that starting a business is actually risky, but that's not the case. If you compare that 9-to-5 job that you actually have, then you'll start understanding that that is even more risky, because at the end of the day, you are at the mercy of your employer. And if your employer decides to lay off some people, then you might be a victim of this retrenchment. And then what happens? The second reason why you should start your business is that you get the maximum value. And when I say this, let me give you an example so that you understand better. When a client comes to us as SAZ Business Consultancy, and when we are discussing about the human resources, most of the times we usually allow them to add any additional human resource only if that additional human resource provides more value than we will be giving them. So let me simplify it for you. So a business will never hire somebody if that person brings in less value to the business than what the business actually pays them. So let me give you an example of somebody earning 100,000 or even $1 million for that case. If a business decides to pay you $1 million, it means that you're bringing in more than $1 million to that business so that they can afford to pay you that $1 million. So by starting your own business, your effort actually are translated in terms of the value that you gain from your own business. So if you decide to do, let's say, 16 hours work days, then you'll be getting in more value for your business, which is yours as compared to somebody else's business. Reason number 3 for you to start your own business is that when you have your own business, you can grow exponentially as opposed to when you're being employed or working for another person. This is because when you're being employed, there's usually a ceiling or a cap as to how much you can earn. And majority of the times, businesses are not willing to pay a lot of money to their employees. And this is because they need that additional profits or the extra income for themselves so that they can invest, they can pay their shareholders, they can meet certain obligations as a business, paying premises, rent, insurances, and stuff of the like. So it means that you will never earn at the same rate the business actually earns. And if you had your own business, then you can grow exponentially. What do I mean by this? So for example, you're selling pens, and each pen you're selling it at $5, and your net profit for those pens are $1 per pen. So you can start off by selling just 1 pen per hour, and at the end of an 8-hour shift, then you've earned $8 in net profits. Now, as you continue selling these pens, you get more experience, you manage to do some things, and you can even automate the process. You can have strategic alliances with fulfillment centers that can actually deliver these pens to a wider audience and with minimal interference from your part. So it means that you can now start selling a lot of these pens, and at times even when you're sleeping, the orders can still be shipped out and people can still order. So it means that now, instead of just getting that $8 per day, you are moving closer to about 1,000, 10,000, or even 100,000 a day. The possibilities are endless, and there's no ceiling as to how many pens you can sell. Reason number 4 for starting your own business is that you get to keep more money. Now here, in order for you to understand this, you need to understand how taxation works. So for example, you earn around 100,000. Yeah, I'll use an example of Kenya because their website can calculate this for you. So in Kenya, if you earn 100,000, then you'll be required by law to pay 22,000 as your payee, which is the pay as you earn tax that you're supposed to pay. So 22,000 will go there. And majority of the times, this amount is deducted before you even receive your salary. So your employer is the one tasked to take this amount and pay it to the government in terms of your payee tax. Also, your employer will take your NHIF, which is your National Health Insurance Fund contribution. He'll also deduct your National Social Security Fund contribution, among other things that they need to deduct before you earn your salary. So at the end of the day, you'll find that you earn between 70 to about 75,000 from your perceived 100,000 income or salary, right? So at the end of the day, you're taking home less than what you actually signed up for. Now, on the other side, if you had a business that had revenues about the same amount, 100,000, then what happens? The legal tax requirement requires you to first deduct your expenses. So if you had any rent that you needed to pay, if you were supposed to pay insurance, then you deduct all these expenses. Once you've deducted these expenses, the government looks and sees if you made a profit or if you didn't make a profit. If you made a profit, then you're supposed to pay taxes on them. But if you didn't make profits, then you don't pay any tax. So that means that if you have a business, you only pay taxes after you have deducted your expenses. While when you're actually working for somebody else, they remove first of all the taxes, and then whatever is left, you have to figure out how your expenses will fit into that. The last reason why you need to start your own business is that this is for you. It's not for anybody else, and this is for you and your future. The advantage of starting your own business is that the efforts that you put in are for you. as compared to when you wake up early, you have to rush to the city so that you work for somebody else. You spend majority of your days there. You come back home with the evening traffic. You reach home, you're beat, you just shower, eat, sleep, and there's nothing much you can do about your personal development. But at the end of the day, you're still working for somebody else. You're making that person's company even more profitable, you're making it grow, and at the end of the day, you have nothing for yourself. So consider starting your own business, because this is for you, and all the efforts that you do on a day-to-day activity are for you. There are many misconceptions out there about starting a business, and the first one is that you need a lot of money in order for you to start a business. Well, that's false, because there are some good companies out there, and we can call them successful companies, that were started with less than $1,000. You can Google this and comment them in the section below and tell us which companies were actually founded with less than $1,000. I'll give you a hint. There's Dell, there's Subway, and there's also HP. Another misconception that people have is that I need a good business model before I even start a business. Well, that's false. At SAZ, what we usually recommend you do is that you have an idea of the business that you want to do. Then you just do the bare minimum and come up with something we call the MVP, which is the minimum viable product. Then we put it to the market, and then we let the market teach us how this product should evolve. And once you have your MVP, you will start learning a lot of stuff. The customers want things to be in this way. This color is selling more, or our services should be like this. And that's how majority of the businesses start. So you need to start now if you decide to have your own business. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as we promised, here is the video where we are talking about investment, and here is another video that YouTube is recommending to you. And until the next time, build your future today.